Moving on, competitor 2, presenting work on So Shall You Reap, How Race and Religion Influence Attitudes Towards Criminal Justice in the United States. Also from the Department of Sociology. Yes. Competitor number 2, Joshua Davis.
The United States is one of the most punitive countries in the world. Americans make up roughly 4% of the global population, but 25% of the incarcerated population. And what that translates to is right now there's more than 2.3 million Americans behind bars and more than 9.9 million Americans who have ever been there. Sometimes we hear numbers like that and we lose track of their scope and their impact. So I just want you to think about Norman for a second. Think about the last time you were stuck in traffic or you were waiting for a table at a restaurant. Now consider that the number of people currently incarcerated is 17 times larger than the population of Norman. The number of people who have ever been incarcerated is 77 times larger. Despite this, most Americans want to expand the criminal justice system. To understand why, criminologists have looked to social markers like gender, race, education, and religion to see how they shape the way we think about crimes. Over the last 20 years, criminologists have found that more conservative forms of religion, including interpreting the Bible literally word for word, is consistently associated with harsh criminal punishment. Whether this is because it indicates a more stringent belief in the role of supernatural evil in producing crime, or it just indicates a desire for a more ordered society, biblical literalism is consistently associated with harsh punishment. But is this the whole story? Because religious congregations in the United States tend to be heavily racially segregated, I wanted to see whether race and religion together might provide a clearer picture about how we think about punishment. So I looked at data from the last 30 years and specifically focused on a question asking whether local courts are harsh enough on criminals. And I found 3 really important things. First, in line with previous research, I found that white Americans are consistently and significantly more punitive than their non-white peers. Second, I actually found biblical literalism wasn't associated with punitiveness for non-white Americans. So this association we've been talking about for 20 years is explicitly and exclusively a white issue. Third, while everyone's declined in punitiveness over this time, white biblical literalists have separated themselves from other Americans. So, as America tries to grapple with the scope and impact of the criminal justice system, this punitiveness among white biblical literalism represents a significant hurdle we need to overcome. Ultimately, the pathway to undoing the harm of mass incarceration lies in our ability to bridge this gap.